In today's video, we're talking about social media for youth ministry. Believe it or not, I actually have my degree in youth ministry and theology, and before I was ever seduced by the powers of church communications and became the media director at my church, I was hoping to become a youth pastor. And the primary motivation behind starting Pro Church Tools 7 years ago, this channel, was to teach the digital skills that I was learning because I knew my peers in the youth ministry program at Bible college were going to need them when they entered the world of vocational ministry. And when we're talking about social media in the context of students, it is absolutely unique. So in this video, we'll talk about some of those challenges, along with a few of my favorite techniques for connecting with and pastoring students through social platforms. Well, hey there, I'm Brady Shearer. This is Pro Church Tools, and we're here to help your church navigate the biggest communication shift in 500 years. So consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, turn on notifications to get instant alerts when we drop new content. And if you learn something in this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's perhaps the best way to give back on YouTube. Now, if you serve in student ministry, as a church leader, as a youth pastor, you surely don't need me to tell you that social is a powerful force in the lives of teens and young adults. But let's look to some recent data anyway. This comes from Statista, and it was gathered early in 2020 prior to the pandemic. And what you're seeing here is the percentage of American teenagers that use a social platform at least once a month. Now keep in mind when you see this that YouTube is not included here, perhaps because it's not a social platform in the traditional sense, like maybe Instagram or TikTok is, but don't underestimate it just because it's not on this chart. Take a look at this other infographic, also from Statista. This is from early 2019, and here you'll notice that TikTok isn't even on the chart, which just goes to show you how fast social changes, especially with young people. And here, YouTube is listed as the most widely used social platform amongst teens. Back to our other infographic now, and we've got Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok as big players. These numbers will all be self-reported by teens gathered through a survey, and I would suspect TikTok is higher now than it was at the beginning of the year. But the main takeaway that I want you to get from this is that, yes, obviously, social plays a big role in the everyday life of a teenager, and the platforms they're spending the most time on are going to be YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. Now, they might have accounts on Facebook and Twitter, they may check in every so often, but the majority of their time on social is going to be spent on those other platforms. And lastly, yes, this is American data, but in my experience, you're pretty safe to assume these splits apply similarly to most Western countries. Now, let's get into what makes social media different for students and young adults than compared to old washed millennials like myself. And for you as a youth leader, there are really three things to consider. Number one, social media comes with two responsibilities. You need to reach publicly and connect personally. All of what we do on social media is summed up in those two things: reach publicly, connect personally. Now, the reach publicly side is what will almost certainly come more naturally to you. It's the visible side of social. We can see what others are doing. We can take cues from them. We get that. It's the connect personally side that we often miss on. And that's because it's the part of social media that happens behind the scenes. But for you as a youth leader, here's what you need to know. There are generational differences in how people use social media. So what do I mean by that? Well, older folks will generally use social more to reach publicly. Younger folks will use social more to connect personally. So think about your students here for a moment. The vast majority of the time they spend on their phones on social is probably going to be DMing their friends and consuming content rather than publicly sharing content with the world. And this needs to influence how you use social to connect with them. Practically, one thing you can do is set up an Instagram direct group for your students. Groups can have up to 32 people in them, and what this does is it creates a private channel for you and your students with opportunities to connect personally with them. And it dovetails off of the existing social behaviors of your students. So yes, you could spend a ton of energy and time creating content for the Instagram feed, trying to engage your students that way, or you could set up this Instagram direct group, get all of your students in there, set up multiple groups if needed. It's gonna be less work, and it will synchronize with how your youth prefer to use social. And If you're wondering what this can actually look like, what is it going to lead to, here's what one pastor told me about how his Instagram Direct group led directly to pastoral care. A few months ago, one of our youth messaged our group DM saying, "Hey, can you guys pray for me, please? My brother got kicked out of rehab, me and my parents got into a fight, and I currently have no place to live. Please pray God has a plan. Thank you." Our leaders jumped in immediately and consoled her amongst the group, while at the same time, a leader reached out privately to get more information and ensure that she was safe. We were able to arrange accommodations for her that night while also leading her into a way to be restored with her family. And this now leads nicely to the second big idea I want you to grasp when it comes to social for students. Here's the change you need to make. Most of us are thinking about creating content for our students on social. Instead, you need to concentrate your energy on creating content with your students. You know, when I was in youth ministry back about 10 years ago, my youth group would often host a basketball night or a laser tag night, mini golf night, because those were activities that we as teens enjoyed doing. And so we integrated that into our student ministry calendar. With teenagers today, creating TikTok videos and creating YouTube videos, those are the kinds of activities that have ascended to be some of the most popular recreational options amongst young people. So your focus as a youth leader when it comes to social shouldn't be on creating content for your youth, but instead empowering them to create the content for the student ministry. What does this look like practically? Well, you could host a TikTok night, break the students up into groups of 3 or 4, and have each group create a single TikTok video or a couple of them, and then the group that creates the best video, as voted on by all of the students that evening, can win a prize. And then use all of that content that was created that evening for the days and weeks ahead. I spoke with one of the social media leaders at Life Church earlier this year, and they hosted a night like this. I spoke with a pastor of a youth group of about a dozen, and they hosted a night like this. So whatever size of group you have, this makes for a great evening. And then you could take it one step further and empower a social media team made up of students to create content for the youth group. Youth love to do this sort of thing. It's what they're choosing to do in their spare time already. Intersect that passion with their faith, put a bunch of gear in their hands, and you're off. And as an added bonus, now the burden to create the content is no longer entirely on your shoulders. Finally, if you get to the place where you're using social to connect personally with your students and pastoring them through these digital platforms, and you've empowered them to create content for the student ministry as well, you are now in a privileged place where you can play a role in teaching your students how to wisely navigate the dangers of social. Because guess what? Humans are involved on social, meaning social can and will be used for evil. And really, you have two options here as a leader. You can reject social altogether, leave your kids to fend for themselves online throughout youth group and then on for when they graduate, or you can equip your students to be agents in redeeming social. You know, Jesus talked about how we are the light of the world, a city on a hill, not meant to be hidden, and you don't light a lamp just to cover it up under a bowl. The good news is meant to be shared. So where do we share it? Where the people are. And that's what social provides for us. A tremendous opportunity. Does it come with its challenges? Yes, absolutely it does. Whenever humans are involved in anything, there will be challenges. So this is where you can come alongside a student's parents perhaps and be a voice and influence, modeling behaviors for your students and showing them how to use social while not letting social be the one that uses them. Thanks for your time as always. If you liked what we talked about in this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. It might seem trivial, it might even seem juvenile, right? I get it, but this was a video on student ministry, so maybe you're also that person that always watches these videos and you don't hit the like button. Look, I get it, do you? But it would mean a ton to me if this was the day you decided to change your ways. And of course, to all of you that are consistently hitting thumbs up on every one of our videos, thank you kindly. I'd also encourage you to share this video with a youth leader who could benefit from it. And as always, I'll talk to you real soon.